Hello, hello, hello. This is Larrissa, and I would like to welcome you to my channel, Be You Beautiful One. I am continuing on in the series of the names of God, and we will be talking about Jehovah Shalom today. I will link the introductory video of this series. Please take a look at it. It will tell you about me, my goals in doing this series, and what I hope to accomplish for myself, and that it will help others as well. So take a look at that video. I will be using these three resources. The first one is the name of God and the 21 meanings and the 21 names of God and their meanings, as well as Praying Through the Names of God by Tony Evans. And then this is my journal, Grace. It's just where I put like a little summary of what I have learned in the study. And so again, we're going to be doing Jehovah Shalom today, which means the Lord is our peace. And so let's just go ahead and dive into this and see what we have in store for us. And so this is the pamphlet that I have from my local bookstore, about $4, I think. So Jehovah Shalom is the Lord is our peace. The application of this name means God defeats our enemies to bring us peace. Jesus is our Prince of Peace, and God brings inner peace and harmony. Bible references are Numbers 6:22 through 27, Judges 6:22 through 24, Isaiah 9 and 6, and Hebrews 13:20. We're going to be focusing on Judges 6:22 through 24. Some of the comments that they have noted in here for Jehovah Shalom is the pronunciation Jehovah Shalom, also known as Yahweh Shalom. And the name, the name came about as the name of the altar built by Gideon at Oprah to memorialize God's message, peace be unto thee. Isaiah tells us that the Messiah will also be known as Prince of Peace, our Jehovah Shalom. Isaiah 9:6. Okay, and then as far as the booklet with Tony Evans is concerned, he is focusing on verse 6:24 of Judges. He has here Jehovah Shalom, the Lord our peace, and then the verse Judges 6:24. Gideon built an altar there to the Lord and named it the Lord is our peace, Jehovah Shalom. And so I really enjoyed reading this particular passage of the Bible in Judges 6. And we're going to just read some of it really quick. And basically the background of this story is God has rescued the Israelites and set them free from bondage and slavery in Egypt. And basically he is taking them into where they now are taking over the lands of their enemies. And Israelites is at this point being disobedient to God. They are not listening to God. And God is basically saying, hey, you know what? If that's how you want to do it, then that's how I'm going to let you do it. So basically the Lord handed them over to their enemies, the Midianites, for 7 years. And the Midianites, it says here in verse 2:6, the Midianites were so cruel that the Israelites made hiding places for themselves in the mountains, caves, and strongholds. Whenever the Israelites planted their crop, marauders from Midian, Amalek, and the people of the east would attack Israel, camping in the land and destroying crops as far away as Gaza. They left the Israelites with nothing to eat, taking all the sheep, goats, cattle, and donkeys. These enemy hordes coming with their livestock, tents, were as thick as locusts. They arrived on droves of camels too numerous to count, and they stayed until the land was stripped bare. So that Israel was reduced to starvation by the Midianites. Then the Israelites cried out to the Lord for help. And so this is powerful, because basically the Lord is like, okay, you want to continue to do evil in my sight? Well, then go ahead then. I'm going to give you over to your enemies, because you have been disobedient. And it does says here, when they cried out to the Lord because of the Midian, the Lord sent a prophet to the Israelites. He said, this is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says. I brought you up out of slavery in Egypt. I rescued you from the Egyptians and from all those who oppress you. I drove out your enemies and gave you their land. I told you I am the Lord your God. You must not worship the gods of the Amorites in whose land you now live. But you have not listened. And so he's point blank letting them know, I've shown you that I am God. I've shown you what I would do to protect you, to save you, to rescue you. And all I ask is for your obedience. And you don't want to listen to me. And so we go on to hear, then the angel of the Lord came and sat beneath a great tree of Oprah, which belonged to Joash of the clan of Abazar. And again, I'm not an official Bible student. I just study the word on my own, so forgive me if I mess up the names. Gideon, son of Joash, was threshing wheat at the bottom of a winepress to hide the grain from the Midianites. The angel of the Lord appeared to him and said, mighty hero, the Lord is with you. Now, if you missed that, Gideon was threshing wheat at the bottom of the winepress. So the wine press is not made to thresh wheat at. So literally Gideon was hiding. Why? Because the Midianites were taking their food and basically reducing them down to starvation. And so he's trying to feed himself, his family, or whatever else. So, and then take note of this, the angel of the Lord appeared to him and said, mighty hero, the Lord is with you. Remember that. And then Gideon says, sir, Gideon replied, if the Lord is with us, why has all this happened to us? And where are all the miracles of our ancestors told us about? Didn't they say the Lord brought us up out of Egypt? But now the Lord has abandoned us and handed us over to the Midianites. Well, yeah, God did do all those miracles, but Israelites were being disobedient and not obeying God. And we will come to know, if you don't know yet, that sin separates us from God. So you can't just be doing whatever you want to do and expecting God to hang around while you choose to sin against him. That's one, taking advantage of someone, and two, we wouldn't want that for ourselves. So why would God want that? Then the Lord turned to him and said, go with strength. You have the strength you have, and rescue Israel from the Midianites. I'm sending you. But Lord, Gideon replied, how can I rescue Israel? My clan is the weakest in the whole tribe of Manasseh. I am the least in my entire family. And then God says here, the Lord said to him, I will be with you, and you will destroy the Midianites as if you were fighting against one man. Now that is powerful, because remember here, Gideon is basically saying, God, I'm the weakest in my whole tribe. My family is the weakest in my whole tribe. And then I am the least in my family. So he's at the lowest of the totem pole, as far as when you're talking about the recognizing the status level of a family, of a tribe. But up here, the angel of the Lord calls him a mighty hero. And this is the NLT version. So the words for this is a little bit different, but it means the same. And so, mighty hero, the Lord is with you. And what makes him a mighty hero is the angel was prophetically calling him a mighty hero. Why? Because God is making him the mighty hero. Because why? The Lord is with him. And the Lord is making him so strong that he's going to destroy the Midianites as though he was fighting one man. Now that's powerful, okay? And then Gideon replied, if you are truly going to help me, show me a sign to prove that it is really the Lord speaking to me. Don't go away until I come back and bring my offering to you. He answered, I will stay until you return. So it's interesting here. Gideon says, hey, show me a sign to prove that it's really you speaking to me, Lord. And this helps me in today's time, because it's saying it's okay to ask for a sign from the Lord. It's not wrong. I think it's all about how we reverence God. You know, if you go to your parent with a certain attitude and tone in your voice, they're not going to hear that, you know. But if you go to them with a sweet voice, or to your husband or wife, or you know, whatever, if you go to them with a request and it has a sincerity behind it, and it has a level of honor or respect, they're going to be more willing to say, yes, I'll do what you say, or I will answer your question. And I know when my nieces and nephew or my goddaughter, if they ask me something that's with a sweet tone or whatever, whether it's asking for something or asking for information, I'm more willing to give it to them. Versus if they come in to me with an attitude and a poor disposition, I'm like, well, what's wrong with you? First of all, you better, you know, hey, no. So it's all about how you reverence God and how you bring things to God that's of importance. So I love that. And then on top of that, he's like, don't go away. Don't go away until I come back and give you my offering. And he's like, I'll wait. I'll stay here until you return. So Gideon hurried home. He cooked a young goat, and with a basket of flour, he baked some bread without yeast. Then, carrying the meat in a basket and the broth in a pot, he brought them out and presented them to the angel who was under the great tree. The angel of God said to him, place the meat and the unleavened bread on this rock, and pour the broth over it. So one, he's putting the meat and unleavened bread on a rock. Two, he's pouring broth over it, which is soaking the meat and the bread. And Gideon did as he was told. Then the angel of the Lord touched the meat and the bread with the tip of the staff in his hand, and fire flamed up from the rock and consumed all he had brought, and the angel of the Lord disappeared. It's not like he put the meat and the bread on the grill and the grill already had the coals lit. You know what I'm saying? He put it on a rock and then wet the rock, the meat and the broth. The meat and the bread with the broth. I just think that's awesome. When Gideon realized that it was the angel of the Lord, he cried out, "O sovereign Lord, I'm doomed. I have seen the angel of the Lord face to face." "It is all right," the Lord replied. "Do not be afraid. You will not die." And Gideon built an altar to the Lord there and named it Yahweh Shalom, which means the Lord is peace. The altar remains on Oprah in the land of the clan of Abazar to this day. So, I don't know if because this sign proved that, oh wow, you're doing something that we as human can't do. If I go and put meat and bread on a rock, it's just going to sit on the rock. Then if I put broth on top of it, it's just going to be wet meat and wet bread on top of a rock. But fire is not going to consume it, So that was his sign. And then it was like, oh, you really are the angel of the Lord. I really was talking to the angel of the Lord face to face. And Gideon the Lord is telling him it is okay. Do not be afraid. You will not die. And it's like the light bulb went on for Gideon once he realized he was really talking to the sovereign Lord. And so God is just a God full of mercy and grace. He is Jehovah because he's a relational God. Shalom is peace. Jehovah means a relational God. God is just not a God sitting on a mantle on a fireplace just looking pretty or gaining dust. No, he is a true living, breathing God. And because he desires to have a relationship with us, he allows us to ask questions. He allows us to say, God, am I really hearing you? So I think that's just wonderful. God is really good like that. So let's look back at this book, Praying Through the Names of God. I really enjoy this book because it really helps to build up my vocabulary in prayer and different ways to pray, intensify my prayer. And it's not a fake it till you make it kind of thing. It's not putting on an act or a show, but just like with anything else, if I want to read at a higher level, I need to learn more words. I need to do more research. I need to gain better understanding. I have to put in the work and invest into learning more and more and more. And so this is a part of us learning more and more and more. Tony Evans is using this book to help us to learn how to incorporate the name of God into our prayer life. And so he uses the acronym ASK, which is A for adoration, C for confession, T for thanksgiving, S for supplication. And so I'm just going to read this with you really quick, and so that we can hear how he uses the name of the Lord in prayer. So first we're going to do adoration. Jehovah Shalom, you spoke to the wind and the waves. You calmed them with just one word. You still the storm within me when I call your name. You bring peace to my heart and soul when I abide in your presence. In you is the fullness of peace and truth. Regardless of our pedigree, background, education, and status, you chose to raise us up and bring us peace in your name. Just as you delivered Israel through Gideon, you can bring peace to those around me through me when I commit my life to you in all I do. I praise you, for you are the author and the finisher of my peace. Wow. I praise you, for you're the author and finisher of my peace. You can bring peace to those around me through me when I commit my life to you in all I do. So God allows us to be peacemakers, to resonate peace. Have you ever been around someone who's been standing in a situation of chaos? They care, but they have peace. They're aware, but they have peace because they know God is able, and all things will work out for the good of the Lord that is within us, that works through us and for us. So, confession. Jehovah Shalom. Worry plagues us as a nation. We spend billions of dollars on prescription drugs to help calm our anxiety. Peace is a luxury that large homes and high salaries don't seem to provide. Peace escapes many of us. I admit it escapes me more often than it should. With faith comes peace. With trust comes peace. With rest comes peace. Forgive me for lacking in all three, and give me the grace of your peace. Thanksgiving. Jehovah Shalom. My heart is filled to overflowing with gratitude for the wonderful peace you offer me. Fear and anxiety have so many causes today. Many of them are legitimate. They're really legitimate. Trials, dangers, health issues, loss. These things seek to steal my peace. But thank you for being ready and willing to offer the gift of peace to me. Thank you for making your peace available to me, if I but ask and believe. Thank you for being my only true peace. And again, we can go through all of this and still have peace. We choose to trust God. It's not ignoring what is going on around us, but to choose peace of God means that we're putting God above everything. And we're relying on Him for our strength, our hope, increased faith, wisdom, understanding, discernment, healing, provision, everything we are relying on God for. And so our peace comes from knowing that God is all-knowing. He's omnipresent. He's the beginning and the end. He's all-sufficient. He is the way maker. He is healer. He is provider. God is everything that we need. And so that's how you sit in peace, is knowing that God is. And because He is the great I am, I can sit in peace. God requires for us to be obedient to Him, to turn from sin and repent, and to turn to Him and to seek Him. And when we do that, we will find peace. Supplication. Jehovah Shalom. I speak shalom into my body, into my cells. I speak shalom into my health, calming that which is irritated or aggravated somehow. I speak shalom into my mind, my thoughts, and my heart. I call on your name, Jehovah Shalom, to be present in all this and more. Shalom in my plans, in my future, in my relationships. Show yourself to me and reveal to me the choices I need to make to enter into even greater level of your peace. Wow. Enter into even greater level of your peace. We have to be willing to let God into our heart. God is not a surface God. He's a deep, penetrative God. He is a relational God. He wants to know us intimately. He offers opportunity for us to know Him. And I just thank God for that. God is wonderful. He's just that kind of God. So, okay. And so now we'll turn here to grace. And I have already pre-filled out my pages. And basically, again, this is a book that I like to keep around. It stays at home, and it's just capturing highlights of what I'm learning about God, and so that I can just avoid having to do a lot of reading or whatever. Of course, I'll reread stuff again, but again, this is just my notes, my highlights, my takeaways, and it just makes it a little bit more fun and readable for me. And basically, I have here Jehovah Shalom. Judges 6:24 is the primary verse. The Lord our peace is the name of God. Well, the meaning of Shalom. And the scripture is Gideon built an altar there to the Lord and named it the Lord is peace, Jehovah Shalom. And the reason why I chose butterflies and flowers is there's just something, like, usually if I have a lot of built up energy, if I'm angry or something, a lot of people will go for walks or go for a jog or something, and then you see like a butterfly, and a butterfly just reminds you of God. And then you see the flowers and the fragrances and the different color hues, and it's just like, oh God, it just reminds me of God. And so that's one reason why I use that. And then over here I have again Jehovah Shalom, and the Lord is our peace. Jesus is our Prince of Peace. God defeats our enemies, and then God brings us inner peace and harmony. And so I repeated the flowers and the butterfly. I've added the bird, and I love hearing the birds sing in the morning. It reminds me of God. Today we had a really bad rain pour, and once the rain passed and it was still dark out, this was early afternoon, but then I saw like a cardinal fly, this bright red cardinal just flying from one roof to the other, and it just reminded me of God, and when I'm reminded of God, I think of God's peace. So, and then the sunglasses here reminds me that I have to seek God. I have to seek peace. I have to do some work in this thing called life to become more closer to God, to reflect God, to receive his blessings and his promises. So yeah, that's what I have. So I'm very excited. I think it's a neat spread. I'm still not where I want to be as far as decorated skills are concerned, but it works for me. And one day I'll be a true artist with my washi tape and stickers. I look forward to that. Okay, so next Saturday we will be taking a look at, I believe it is Jehovah Rohi. Let me double check. Sorry, I forgot to write this down. Yes, Jehovah Rohi, that's Rohi, and that means the Lord is my shepherd. And then the following Saturday after that, we will look at Jehovah Nissi, which is Nissi, the Lord is my banner. So we're hitting some ones that are my favorite, and I look forward to sharing with you. Please like, subscribe, turn on your alert notification bell, and I look forward to discussing with you more about the names of God. Please leave a comment and make sure you like and subscribe, okay? God bless you, God keep you, may his face shine upon you, and may you feel the presence of God and know the presence of God and have peace and joy beyond understanding. God bless you. God keep you. Thank you for joining me.